of the Aldermen for September 13th to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all.
Yep, that was worse than the singing.
It was.
It was, definitely.
All right, can we get a roll call?
Aldermen and women. King,
He's here.
okay, Stowe.
He's 6281.
Mhm,
Yeah.
Stowe, okay. Adamowski,
Here.
Tar,
Here.
Cassetti,
Here.
Janetti,
Here.
Nutt,
Here.
Yeoman,
Here.
Rivers,
Here.
Mamone,
Here.
Short,
Here.
Blackwell, DeLibero.
Here.
10 present,
He's
11,
here also.
11 present, 2
Uh,
absent.
I was gonna say, I'll note that 1875 is Frank DeLibero
Yep.
and 6281 is Dan King.
All right, 11 present, 2 absent, and 1 vacancy.
All right, I declare a quorum. Before we start, I want to make a couple additions to the agenda. One is an add-on for the facade loan application that came up that got bounced to the subcommittee and now it's coming back. So that should go under old business. The one facade loan application that was sent out to everybody. And we received one late communication the other day. So we'll just add that to the communications. There's 3 regular communications plus the one that's designated as late, but you have them all. That was from Christopher Camillo, and we'll put that under communications. Can I get a motion to add those 2 items to the agenda?
Motion to add.
Second.
Add by Mamone, second by Tar, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimously. Thanks. The minutes, you received the minutes of the August 9th, 2022 regular meeting. Everyone had a chance to review those?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion to accept by Cassetti. Who was the second on that?
Look like Adamowski.
Second by Adamowski.
Thank you.
Any comments or additions or corrections to the minutes? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Josh is Tony. I'll abstain. I didn't get a chance to review them.
Okay. Next up, we got public session. So we'll open it up to the public. Anyone from the public who wishes to speak, just a quick reminder. Please state your name and address for the public record. And please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. And just a reminder that it's not a Q&A. We'll try to answer questions if quick or available, but it's not going to be a back and forth. So is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak tonight to address the Board of Aldermen? We'll look around. Anyone from the public who wishes to speak? Third and final call. Anyone from the public? Seeing none, we'll close the public session and move on to the public official session. Mayor Cassetti.
Good evening, President Short, members of the Board of Aldermen, residents of this great city of Ansonia. I have a few quick updates for you. Many things are happening here in Ansonia. Our sports complex is going to get underway. Can't wait for that to start. Our splash pad should be done by November. Apartments on Main Street. And I've been talking to the developers of the old Mark Hardware land, which is slated for a 4-story apartment building with a possible arcade for our young children. And speaking of children, basketball will be starting this fall. I asked Jeff Capola to please include boys and girls in this program. Our boxing program has over 100 kids. We want to keep our children active in sports and activities. Also, I ask that you please support our Pop Warner football teams. As you know, Pop Warner is the feeder program for our high school. And speaking of our high school program, we are on the verge of going to win our state 21st state title. We lead the state in the most state championships right here in Ansonia. All right, we want to keep the tradition going with our Pop Warner teams. Ansonia is on the move. Please join us Saturday, the 24th of September for our annual Harvest Festival on Main Street. That's it for now. Thank you all, and God bless you, and God bless the city of Ansonia.
Just a quick comment, Mayor. Impressive win, for our first game, for the high school. Just wanted to
Yes,
mention.
we have a real strong team, and it all comes from the feeder program that starts with
Yeah.
Pop Warner. That's why it's so important to support the Pop Warner League. As them young kids grow, they're going to go to high school and they're going to play and excel right here in Ansonia. So that's, we're on the verge of going for our 21st state championship. No other town or city in the state of Connecticut has as many championships as us. So we are title town Ansonia. So hope everybody will join us at the home games. There is a home game this Friday. Thank you, Josh.
Muted.
Thanks, Mayor.
Josh, you are muted.
Yeah, it's not my turn. It's supposed to be Corporation Counsel John Marini speaking.
Hey, Mr. President, members of the board, we have some matters to discuss in executive session, but the city mayor's office are excited to continue negotiations with both our arms interim chief, Mike Warhola, and also Lieutenant Froelich. Going to save that for a little later tonight. In addition, we do have union contract negotiations still ongoing. We may know more by next month, but that is both the Ansonia Police Union and the Arms Union, both the supervisors and EMT units. We also have a matter of potential land acquisition to discuss later. And for the purpose of public session tonight, I can say that involves looking at locations for the planned new Ansonia Middle School, that this board will be working in conjunction with the school building committee to hopefully move forward in the months to come. We have a resident that is not able to be with us tonight. I spoke to him briefly just moments ago. It concerns the issue affecting residents in the Hilltop area, the revving motors that we had heard about a couple months prior. That condition is still ongoing. And so I can say that our Ansonia Police Department, our PD, has been responsive to those issues. The mayor's office has been concerned about it, and we are looking to have a positive resolution for the peace and quiet and order of the residents and homes being affected. Other than that, we have a bit to dip into later tonight, so I'll take any questions for now.
John, I just have one thing I wanted to put on your radar. There was a request in the late communication for this board to consider a fee waiver. I just wasn't sure that involved in the permit fee waiver, whether or not there were any statutory fees or deep fees that were associated with that. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that, because I know when that comes up later, that's one of my questions. So I don't know if you had a chance to look at that, but I didn't know if the entire fee could be waived or, for purposes of the discussion on that later.
So you think there may be some fees relating to outside agencies that we don't have control over?
Yeah, it looks like the letter requests, I believe it's 500, but I wasn't sure with the inland wetlands application. I believe there's a deep fee associated with that. I wasn't sure what a B permit was. So I didn't know if there was any other fees that went to the state or whatnot.
I don't believe so. However, it's good to know if there's any fees due to the state, they'd be owed either way. We have no authority, as you know, as I'm sure why you're pointing it out, we'd have no authority to waive those fees. So, I think if we're going to act on that, I would condition that on all fees that we have as a city authority over. We're not going to reimburse the state for an application.
Right. That was kind of where I just wasn't sure if you knew.
And I don't believe so, but I think it's still smart if action is taken, we may as well have that in the motion to make it clear that we're not letting anybody off the hook for state fees.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good question. Any other questions for Corporation Counsel?
Yeah, John, can we just go to executive session now and get some of this work done?
That's highly unusual. I suppose you could.
You want me to make it a motion? I will.
Well, the reason why we normally wait to the end isn't to, isn't for the suspense. It's typically because then we'd have to go in and out, and so it makes sense to conduct all the public business first. That way, if none of the public want to wait, they don't have to, they can log off early.
Well, they're just dying to find out what we're going to do.
You are talking to a ghost there, so we may want to consider this, John. Ghost Cassetti.
Yeah, that's like the cover of Queen too.
I know, right?
There's just Joe.
Are you in the Opera House, Joe?
That's right.
All right, well, we'll skip that part. Any other questions for Corporation Counsel? All right, thank you. And then we'll move on to Economic Development. Sheila O'Malley.
Okay, thank you, everyone, and thank you for that beautiful rendition of Happy Birthday earlier. Let's see, let's start with the garage repairs. So we have a pre-construction meeting tomorrow. Chief will be there, as well as others, just to get a schedule of how, what the time frame looks like. Don't want to inconvenience the PD. So we'll be coordinating when those repairs take place. So we'll get a schedule from the contractor, Frank Capasso and Sons. Mayor spoke about the splash pad. Yes, the mayor said September, and honestly, it could be done in September. We got 3 decent quotes, but I guess the issue becomes, do you set everything up only to have to take it all apart and stored for the winter time? Is it easier to move forward for the next season? But we will be discussing that with the contractor. So not sure about the timing. It's a quick turnaround, but I don't think anyone will be using the splash pad in November, although you never know. So it's quite detailed in how you have to dismantle and everything and drain it, etc. State Street, the long-awaited State Street project. We are in final design. We have a third-party review that has to be conducted. Then it goes to DOT, and then we finally hit the ground running or walking. We have met with Aldermen in that ward, Alderman Adamowski and Alderwoman Tar, and we've taken your comments and suggestions into consideration. We are going to make some changes based on those comments and based on what I'm understanding your residents have talked to you about. Demolition we're set for demolition. We've done all the abatement and all the prep work. We are waiting on United Illuminating to prepare a plan for disconnection, and the issue is the lines are all interconnected with all of the buildings, but specifically these electrical lines run across the Metro North tracks, and so they have to be, the pole has to be stabilized and a lot of other things that I'm not really too sure about. If the mayor's still on this call, he knows more about it, but that's what we're waiting. We're waiting on UI. And then once they have disconnected, all the disconnects will be in place and they'll be ready to demo, working with Chief Williams and Lieutenant Lynch on a traffic diversion pattern for North Main Street. Won't be shutting a lane down or the road, but it will be a little bit of a little bit more challenging, I guess, for cars. So hopefully they'll slow down. That might be a good thing that comes out of it, but we don't want anyone on North Main Street when those buildings come down, when that building comes down, because that's dangerous. So shutting the sidewalk down and the breakdown lane, right, Chief? I think. Okay, so that's demo. Colony Park, I don't know if John mentioned, is going to be graded and filled with topsoil in the next coming weeks to prep it and make sure it's ready for and can be usable. And on that note, you know, the mayor is concerned about the fields and our recreational facilities, and we will at some point come back to you with a recommendation to do the long-awaited park and rec study that we need for in order to understand better what our needs are and what the cost of those needs are, and plan it out, maybe in a capital plan or whether it's a referendum, et cetera. We want to talk about that. And to that end, we are also discussing converting the Armory into a community center. And we are trying to secure federal and state dollars for that effort. I'll keep you updated. Lots of grants. It's September, so September, October, November are grant season, and working on those. Ansonia Opera House Committee met for the first time. We're pursuing a grant for a feasibility study, so all is going along well. Congratulations to Anthony Mullen, who is the chairman of that committee. And that's it for me. Thank you.
All right, any questions for economic development tonight from the alderman?
Hey Sheila, it's Tony. I had a question.
Yes,
I know you
sir.
make all of this seem like a piece of cake here or something like that, but when do you anticipate the demo starting?
I actually think UI will be back to us mid-October. They said 3 to 4 weeks. So demo can start as early as the end of October. It's not going to take long, and demolition can occur in the winter time as well. Hopefully we don't need that all that time. Put a little pressure on UI to get it moving quicker. I don't know why that's such a delay, but that's it.
Last
So
we
I
talked- Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Joe, did you have a question?
I do.
Hold on.
Go ahead, Tom.
Hey Sheila, we talked previously about potentially getting an estimate for lights, maybe at Colony or something like that, to beef that up or jazz it up a little bit.
Yep.
I don't know if we were able to get anything from the UI on that.
We're looking at that. My engineer's looking at it, and they are talking to UI to get some quotes to enhance that field.
Excellent.
We'll come back to you guys with that.
Thank you.
You done, Tom? Okay. Sheila, so
Yes,
going
sir,
back
Joe.
to our friends at UI, can they
Yes, sir.
Can they get rid of the stumps littering Wakely Avenue, please? I mean,
Yeah.
we've
I
had
don't-
telephone pole stumps there for 2+ years now,
Yep.
you know, and I know it's something that the mayor continues to bring up and you continue to bring up with them, but can we get a schedule or something? I know they did.
Yeah, I
some
know
of them.
they removed some of them, but they didn't come back and do the rest of it. So we will get a schedule for you, Joe,
Thank you.
And-
I'd
and
appreciate
your
it.
residents. I know.
Because it's something that every time I'm out and about,
It's,
people bring it up to me. It's
Yeah,
just, it's an eyesore.
unsightly. Yep,
Yeah, it is.
it really
Um,
is.
Secondarily, in terms of the recreation and park study that you were talking about, is that something that you need to come out of the Parks and Recreation Committee? Because I haven't seen a meeting from that board, and a long time.
Yeah, I mean, this board can authorize that study, but certainly, you know, members of that committee if are certainly welcome to weigh in, but this board has the authority to do that.
Okay. That's all I got. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Sheila, if I could just jump on the
Yes.
UI bandwagon.
Yep.
You know, in the north end of the city, I think that would be wards 1 and 2 primarily. We have multiple situations of telephone poles that were replaced where the new pole is in the ground, but the old pole is still strapped to the new pole and hasn't been removed. Some of these are as much as a year old. So if you could,
Okay.
if you could add that to their list, I think there are just a lot of UI concerns at this point.
Yeah, I think the mayor and I will ask UI to come in and meet with us because we've got a bunch of issues. The two that you folks mentioned and also the demolition issue. So yeah, we need some answers and we have to get some answers pretty quickly because everything's coming to a head. So yes, we'll get back to you. I will let you guys know what UI says.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the Alderman for Sheila? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Moving on, Police Chief Wayne Williams. Hello, Chief.
Good evening, President and Board of Aldermen. How are you tonight? I'm going to keep this short because I looked at your agenda and I realize you have a lot on there. So I just want to let you know our staffing levels really haven't changed up or down, except that Officer Barry McMahon, who served over 25 years with us, retired effective on Monday. So I wish him the best in his future. We are still in discussions with the school superintendent. I saw Mr. DeBacco on here. We have been working together on the school security project that the Board of Ed has been working on. I know they have hired their security director. I actually have a meeting with him scheduled for Monday with some of our staff, including our school resource officer. Talking about our school resource officer, I'm sure you all saw the really good article Channel 3 did on his before school program. I will tell you that I think he is the model SRO for the state. And I know Mr. DeBacco has said the same thing on more than one occasion at his professional meetings and with me. Additionally, I know you also saw we got some very positive responses to Officer Perez's donation of the sneakers to the young man at his lemonade stand last week. I will tell you that Officer Perez had been on the road for about 2 weeks on his own. He is our newest officer. So I've already stopped and had a good conversation with him. As Attorney Marini said, we are in contract negotiations with the union, kind of like it at the infant stages, but we're getting there. The upcoming Harvest Festival, we're in the planning stages for. I wanted to also just let you know that regarding, I know I kind of talk about police accountability bill every month, but I try to give you at least some updates. We met with the state. I actually went up to the state, met with them on a training class for the accreditation part. If you remember, I told you that our date was picked for January 31st, which means we had to have tier 1 completed by them. I met with them. We kind of talked about how it was really going to be a difficult task to get there with our staffing levels. And they have given us a extension to July. So that actually helps. I really didn't expect them to give us an extension, but they had a department that was able to swap out with our date. So that's where we are with that. And regarding some grants, I just want to make you aware that the state of Connecticut had, as part of a package, had put aside some money for local municipalities, law enforcement agencies to work on the stolen vehicle problem, as well as the investigations that go with those. We are conducting some of those cases, but there is money that was given out by the state. We just haven't received it yet. But I'm expecting it to come in the next 3 to 4 weeks. So we'll be able to at least recoup some of our costs that we've already expended, and we'll be able to put some additional officers on those cases. We've also submitted reimbursement for some of the costs for the body and vehicle body worn cameras and vehicle cameras from the state. I'm just waiting to hear back. We have everything into them. Nicole at the state has been very helpful, so I'm hoping that that money will be coming in soon. It is money we've already expended, so it would just be returned to the city. And we are also attending a meeting on Thursday with the Department of Motor Vehicle and the state DOT. It has to do with a grant for money for distracted driving enforcement. So we're trying to see if we can kind of roll into that grant also. So other than that, I'm open with any questions that you may have.
Any questions for the chief from the alderman tonight?
Hey, Chief, it's just Tony. Just want to commend you guys on extraditing that individual, I believe from Hawaii, to bring them back on that that murder case. So nice job on that.
Yeah, that was Detective Adcox, who was retired from here. He had put a lot of man hours into that. A lot of people put into that. It was an 11-year case. We had already made 2 arrests, and the final suspect was brought back from Hawaii last week. Yeah, that was a great conclusion to that case.
Yeah, hopefully it brings full closure to the victims.
Thank you.
Yeah, you stole my thunder, Tony. I was going to say that happened across the street from my house, Chief. So I appreciate the tenacity, the hard work. I know, having talked to everybody over the last 11 years about updates on that case, I appreciate the hard work. So if you could pass on my thanks and appreciation.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I want to say the same thing as Joe. We've heard about it for years, and it's good that it came to a conclusion. So it's some good work. Ansonia finest.
I will pass that on. I appreciate the kind words.
Thank you. All right, if no further questions, we'll move on. I see Dr. DeBacco, Superintendent of Schools.
Mr. President and members of the board, I would like everyone to know on August 25th, we started our first day of school. We started early and we started strong. I would like everyone to know that our buses are running, but as the mayor said, they're not running as strong as our running backs are right now. So I just want to let you know that. I'm happy to report that we did hire a lead security guard. His name is Chuck Stanky. Some of you might know him. He served in Derby. He's been on our juvenile review board. And we just hired all of our armed guards, the last armed guard that we just hired for Meade Elementary School. You might also know him. He's retired police chief, Chief Setkowski from Seymour. He's going to be one of our armed guards. So we are getting some great talent to be the armed guards in our buildings. And I have to thank Chief Williams and Mayor Cassetti very much in their support of this effort. This couldn't be done without the leadership of the Board of Ed, especially Mr. Bashara. And I also thank the support of the Board of Aldermen. I would like to let the board know that this Friday at Ansonia High School, you should have received an email that Ansonia High School, we actually won the FAFSA challenge in the state of Connecticut. We actually had in Ansonia, there are 5 other districts that were selected to win as well, but Ansonia had the highest amount of growth of students completing the FAFSA and moving forward. So we were chosen to host. We'll have the Commissioner of Education and the governor at our high school on Friday. I wanted to put that out there. And I just want to let you guys know, for a small district, we're punching way beyond our weight class right now. We're making some moves, and I'm sure the mayor would like that boxing reference. But you know what? We make it a slugfest every chance we get, letting them know that Ansonia Public Schools is on the map. So I'm here for any questions that you might have, but I want to let you know we are going to be celebrating on Fridays. It's a great achievement for the district.
Any questions for Superintendent DeBacco tonight from the Alderman?
Joe, just for the, first of all, congratulations on the FAFSA challenge. That's a very significant designation and achievement on the part of the high school and the district. For those aldermen that may not know what FAFSA is or means, can you just provide a little background on that?
Yes, the FAFSA is federal aid that students that fill out. It's federal aid for federal student assistance. That's what it is, FA, FSA. And students complete that so they can get financial aid to apply to colleges and universities. And I can tell you, originally we had maybe anywhere up to maybe 10% of our kids actually completing the FAFSA. And we wanted more of our kids to see that college and university, post-secondary education was in their future. And when they actually fill out the FAFSA, which we got over, we're much over 50%. When students saw actually how much money they were receiving, college definitely became an option. As before, they thought it was something so far out of reach, so unattainable due to the cost of it. But when they saw, when they fill out the FAFSA, which could be, if you're a first-time college attender, very, very difficult paperwork. And a lot of times we have first-time high school graduates and first-time college attenders. And a lot of times it takes some convincing to parents and showing the families that, no, this is how much you're getting. This is how much you're getting. And when they realize they're paying maybe cents on the dollar or paying nothing at all to go to university, it makes all the difference. So thank you, Dr. Adamowski, for me to help clarify.
Well, thank you. I think this is going to have a direct, significant impact on the college admission rate. So good job to you and your staff.
Great question, Steve, and thanks for clarifying that. That's awesome. Any other questions for the superintendent tonight? All right,
Josh, I
go ahead.
just wanted to say congratulations, superintendent, and we didn't want to steal your thunder. We would have said something at the beginning, but I wanted you to make the announcement. That's great. That's having a great superintendent and great leadership at the Board of Ed. So really happy about that.
We appreciate it. I'll let the staff know. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Thanks again for your commitment to coming every month. All right, I don't see any other public officials, so we will end the public official session. Move on to committee reports, starting with the Finance Committee.
Make a motion to pay all bills if deemed correct. Josh?
Motion to pay all bills if deemed correct by Malone, second by Cassetti. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining?
No, they were going to talk about it later, but they're still not there.
Can we mute Noreen's iPad, please?
I can't do it.
Don,
Josh, waiting for John.
It's
Oh, it
muted
is,
now.
okay. All right, I also just wanted to acknowledge all the other reports that were in the packet they're not necessarily listed on the agenda, but we do receive extensive reports from different departments, and I know that the finance department always puts together a very, very nice report for us. The library had an extensive report, the fire marshal, and anyone I might have missed, just quickly looking through there, but we don't need to take any action on that or approve them or anything, but just I wanted to acknowledge the heads of those for submitting those to us for review. All right, so then we got, let's see, under municipal reports, the Board of Apportionment and Taxation has not met in September, so we'll move on to the tax collector report. We have a motion to accept that
So moved.
Second.
Second.
by Yaman, second by Rivers. All in favor?
Aye.
Chicago, nobody else? Yeah, everybody?
Everybody.
All right, everybody.
There
Any opposed?
you go, Joe.
There you go. Now it's Chicago and Joe and nobody else. All right. The other one is the request for refunds. And that is listed as $9,437.44.
So moved.
Second.
Yaman and Rivers, second by Rivers. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. Under accidents and claims, we had two claims, number 09221038 and 09221039. What's your pleasure?
Motion to refer to council.
Second.
One
Motion.
comment though, Josh, if I may, On the agenda itself, Mr. Skirret's last name is spelled incorrectly with an H instead of a K.
Yes, I see that. It doesn't line up there, so, yeah, SKURET. That's claim 09221038. Thanks for
Correct,
pointing that out.
Sure.
So a motion to refer those to council by Yaman again and Rivers. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? All right. Communications, as I mentioned at the beginning, we had 3 regular communications and then the one that came in marked as a late. So we'll take those in order. Communication number 1, let me pull these out. So I have them. Mute that. Communication. Stop the noise. Communication number 1 is from Lisa Crosby. This was in your packet.
Yeah.
This was a Houlihan Lawrence. This was a dear Mr. Short and the members of the board. I've listed the property of 283 North Main Street, Ansonia, 2.33 acres of beautiful treed property. Thought the town might want to buy it and keep it as open space and preserve it. Please consider. What's your pleasure?
No.
Motion to refer
Where
to
is
planning and
this?
zoning for an 824.
Second.
Motion to refer to P and Z for an 824 by was Yaman and a second by Cassetti.
Where is this?
This is in the packet.
No,
Communication.
no, I mean, where on where? Like next to what?
Oh, 283. There's a map in there.
It doesn't, tells me nothing. It has a bunch of numbers. It tells me nothing. What's it next to? I'm sorry.
Hey, Bobby, can you be just a little more direct?
I'll try.
It's
No,
wood-
it just
it's
has
a wooded
parcels
area.
listed. Next to
It's
what
across
though?
the street from Frank's Pizza.
Thank you.
Right, it's,
Thanks, Trish.
So it's that borderline of Ansonia Seymour.
Yeah, right by the
Yes.
bend, right?
well, before you get to it, but yeah, right before the.
Yeah, right before the corner. Yeah.
Right
Right
the
before
road.
that sign.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to send this to P and Z for an
We want it?
824. Do you want to do that? Or do you want to refer to city staff?
Well, we gotta refer it to, before we can even have city staff weigh in, you still have to get an 824. One way or another.
So we have a motion and
Oh.
a second. Any further discussion on this? All right, all in favor of referring this?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, so this will get sent off to P and Z for review. Thank you. Communication number 2 is from the Ansonia Soccer Club. Jeff Bryce, president of the Ansonia Soccer Club. And this is a request after having consulted through rec director Jeff Capola for the allotment to be released for $2,000 per season for a total of $4,000 for the year. And this was the process that we established that they would come to us for this approval.
Joe?
I was gonna ask, do we know what the balance of the line is?
I do not know.
Do
Any
we,
other questions?
do we
Hey,
need,
Rich, is Rich on the line? Or
Rich?
Maybe Kim is on the line from
Kim
finance.
or Rich?
Kim is on the line.
Sorry, what's the question?
Looking
What
for the
line item is?
recreation line.
Yeah.
You know what's in the youth sports contingency fund currently with the balances? Not to put you on the spot, Rich, but
No, I think Kim's got it. Kim, do you have an idea? I think it's like 15,000.
okay.
And
Nothing
just,
came out of there?
Josh,
Yes.
just to let you know that Ole Soccer is going to be making a contribution towards that 4,000. I'm not sure if it's the entire 4,000 or not, but hopefully that money will get, put back into the contingency fund.
Is that the
From
same
OIC.
amount we're talking about? We identified 4,000 in goals, specifically with respect to replacement of goals, and that is going to be reimbursed by Olay. But I believe that this request is entirely separate from that.
Sorry. Okay, sorry about that.
So I believe that this is actually basically going to the needs of the league
Of the
for the year.
organization. Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
That's what the letter seems to describe it that way, John. I just didn't know. I want to make sure that the account, first of all, there's money in the line item, and second of all, how much is there. So if we get other requests, obviously,
Yeah, we will.
I'm sure we will.
I don't think we've advanced from there this year based on the new budget rollover, though. So it should be whatever we budgeted.
All right.
I don't recall any other requests yet, so I would imagine it's whatever what the total balance was.
Yeah, it would have been.
All right,
past
so,
12 years, not including the.
Their
So
budget
So moved.
attached.
So we had a motion to, who was that, Rivers, to approve this?
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
second.
And a second by Yam, to allocate the 4,000 2 and 2 to the Ansonia Soccer Club. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carried unanimously. Thanks. Communication number 3 is advantages of Eagle View in the assessment process. I see the assessor, Dave Graybosch, is on here as a potential explainer of this, but this was the Eagle View flyover to simplify and make more efficient the assessment process. Mr. Graybosch, do you have any comments or anything you want to say before we discuss this?
Dave?
MIA.
Can you hear us, Dave? So I think, did he just switch on?
There he is. He's on.
There he is. Hey, Dave.
Hi, everybody. So has anybody seen my little bullet point Word document, or do you want me to go through that?
Just give us a little rundown of the benefits
importance
of the program.
Okay, so basically, every year, as close to October 1st as we could get it, we want to enter in a contract with Eagle View to do flyovers to get our accurate measurements done. This is going to simplify our whole permit process, and actually will be able to actually get inspections done that hasn't been done in about 5-6 years. Just for a little bit of a rundown of what we have every year during this past grand list that started 10/1 of 2021, approximately 900 permits were pulled. The year before I started working here, the city of Ansonia hired an appraiser to do inspections. $3,000 it cost the city, and he performed 86 inspections. That's $34.88 per stop. With Eagle View, we'll be able to inspect every single parcel. That's 5,700 plus parcels every single year. That's $4.43 a parcel as opposed to 34.88. Just for a basic rundown, for every permit that's pulled, an inspection takes an average of 45 minutes. To inspect all the permits every year, that would take approximately 675 work hours, or 19.29 work weeks for one employee doing nothing but permit inspections. So I think just that will bring in revenue to the city, make sure our records are actually accurate. We'll have imaging. It'll be backup if we do run into any court cases or anything like that. I mean, it's hard to dispute when we have picture evidence of everything that we see there. It also allows us to pick up measurements on properties that we wouldn't physically be able to get into, such as no trespass signs, properties with fenced in areas. Also, it would be a relief for the community on just not having to take off from work to give us an inspection. All this could be done through Eagle View, and then if we need anything from the interior, we could set up something like Zoom meetings or sending pictures through emails, that sort of thing. So I just feel like this will not only save time, but money also. Basically, 675 work hours is kind of an impossible task for a two-man staff.
Well, it's not good use of your talents either. So, I mean, it clearly saves money, brings in revenue, and it's efficient, way more efficient. I appreciate it's about 6-page. We did get all that in the packet, your overview, and then some of the other documentation. Are there any questions from the aldermen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First one is that the Eagle View is only of the exterior, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so
No, yeah, we obviously can't get views of inside the properties. It's
right,
just a strict flyover.
right. So in the end, we would still have to have an inspector go out there if anything's happening inside the property. Correct?
So this wouldn't take over like building inspector job of making sure everything is to code. But as far as the assessment process goes, the exterior is what we do. We never take interior measurements. If it's interior renovations, we basically do it by the reported cost of the building permit more than anything else. I mean, the past 2 summers I've sent out letters. We don't have a high compliance rate for interior inspections, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Right. So now, the other part of that, say if there's a house that have had a deck, say for like 20 years, will that will be picked up, right? And will the owners have to comply and pull a permit?
So that's another plus for this, is we're going to pick up stuff like that without them ever pulling a permit. So I don't know, that wouldn't be my department, but then you could go, the building department might want to go back and see why they haven't pulled a permit.
It's a question of cross-referencing. So as Dave says, that is not his department. However, if the departments are communicating, then of course, yes, such information could be conveyed. The lack of a permit. I will say this makes things fair, from city staff looking at it, savings, of course, but also fairness. How many individuals pay assessments and permits because they're honest and they're reporting it, and how many do not because they're not reporting it, right? So this does take a step forward to fairness and making sure everyone is paying their fair share. Also, as we looked at it, Kurt, Sheila, and I, what Dave had provided us, it does seem very clear that the cost of the program will be paid for and far, far more by the additional revenue that this will be that this program will be bringing in simply by being fair, and treating our residents all equally.
Okay, but
I got a question when you're done.
But in the same,
What if somebody purchased property
go ahead, Bobby.
after something was done and the original owners didn't pull the permit? Why should the newer purchaser be liable for past debts of some?
It
No.
wouldn't be past debts. We wouldn't
Somebody
be
else's
going
property.
backwards.
Yeah,
No, you don't go back.
that wouldn't be, that number one, that's not Dave's area at all. That's building. And number two, definitely, you're right, Bobby. That wouldn't be fair to penalize someone because they didn't know a permit was pulled. And this is something the assessor's office deals with all the time, as is, running into situations where, wow, the past owner didn't do it right. And there are allotments made, again, to treat people fairly. But in terms of the assessment, definitely, the property should be assessed based on what's really there. And we are relying on voluntary reporting. And unfortunately, again, those that report pay and those that don't get away with it.
So, John, let me, I would guess I would ask you that a different way, the way Bobby and I think Chicago were, what they were asking is, it sounds like this would be used for assessment purposes, but any crossover going to building for back permitting and stuff like that, it would more be on a case-by-case basis, and there'd be certain safeguards put in place to protect new property owners from work that a previous owner had done and things like that.
That's correct. And there's no
Okay.
intention now to have a campaign to look for, permits that were not pulled. I think obviously the cross-referencing creates a lot more data and should keep people honest, but this is not the point of why we're doing this program. This program is being done for the purpose of a more accurate assessment at a lower cost.
Okay.
I'll also
One
point
thing
out
I
that
would say though about that is certain things like a deck, that's one thing. But let's say an addition was pulled, whether it's addition was done without pulling a permit, whether it was the current owner's fault or not, that needs to be inspected by a building inspector to make sure it's the code, or else the city could be liable for something like that.
Yeah, and in terms of how it's dealt with, and I agree 100%, that process is important because of the safety of the residents. But in terms of how it's dealt with, in terms of any penalty or fee, there's always the ability, if it can't be resolved within the building department, for someone to make a request to this very board to say, hey, in equity, this isn't fair. But I would say many of those instances don't even reach the Board of Aldermen, as the building department is well accustomed to working with those situations and being equitable, being as fair as possible.
And
Just
another
seems a
thing,
little
as far as
intrusive.
fairness is concerned, if a lot of people do things like demolish a shed, demolish a deck, demolish a garage without pulling a permit, not knowing they even have to do a permit. I've gotten calls, especially through this revale that we're in the middle of, where people, they see, I got rid of this shed 5, 6, 7 years ago. With this, that won't happen. It's all going to get picked up.
And to clarify, Dave, this is one scan that's done how often?
Once
a year.
Okay, so this is not live view. This is not using drones. This is basically what Google Maps does.
It's exactly what Google Maps does, except we're getting accurate measurements. So it's not intrusive in any way. You're not seeing anybody's. I mean, I've gone through the whole map. I haven't seen one live person on there whatsoever. The most you'll get picked up is a car in a driveway.
Yeah, I also want to point
Okay.
out that I think you're going to find a lot of municipalities are moving in this direction. It's just, it's not,
Well,
it's too
that's
time. Go ahead.
that's the problem. I've seen them move in this
Right.
direction, and a lot of people had to go out and pull permits, get things done over, and they were being fined every day that it hasn't been done.
Right.
So I've seen it started off the same way, and it ended up into a whole different other place. Okay, because I'm a builder, so I've seen this. That's how it starts.
Can I have a question? I have a question. So how are we paying for this? Because I don't recall seeing this as a budgeted line.
Who's paying for it?
So Kurt has this slated. Rich, what's the funding mechanism?
Honestly, you're going to get this triple and quadruple in what you're doing.
I haven't discussed this with Kurt, so I don't know specifically on the funding mechanism for this. I would almost, I kind of like it, but I would almost see if we could defer just to finalize some of the questions that
Yes.
the people are bringing up here on terms of, is there going to be penalties? Will there be, people that are taken advantage of because of this thing? And how are we going to fund it? So I don't know, is it okay to wait a month on this, Dave? So we can investigate a little bit more?
Our current pricing stands, I wasn't expecting this until the October Alderman meeting. So they're not expecting anything from me until then. And our current quote stands till that process.
Okay, so that'd be great. You,
of the next board
the
meeting.
board could defer for a month if they so choose to get more information on it. Because it's a 6-year plan, as I read it, Dave, for 26,000 a year.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's
6 flyovers, but they don't have to be concurrent, and it wouldn't be because our next reval is in 4 years with the new state laws, and it comes with the company. It comes in our package. We've already done a flyover, so it's already done. We're already having October 1 of 2021 flyover. It's already been
but you want,
completed.
and you want to
Have we
continue. It
signed
makes
this
sense.
contract
I
already?
just,
Have we signed this contract? It sounds like work has been done already.
Wait,
so-
you already did this? Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
hearing.
believe that was part of the reval section. This is an
That's how
addendum
the
to it.
reval company does their measurements, is through EagleView.
That's how it's
Yeah,
being
reval
done.
companies obviously are using available
Just-
technology to ensure that the revaluation is accurate. And of course, accurate revaluation has a huge impact on whether taxes go up or not. So, the city stands
have a
by
billable
current
event, though?
technology.
Do we have a receivable to this company now?
Through the assessment company that's been hired to do the reval, right, Dave?
Well, it sounds like it
So
was done
we-
last year.
Equality has a contract with EagleView, which we got one free flyover with our reval contract that was part of it.
So it's like a subcontract. So they're like a subcontractor of our reval company. And that's why we have the data, because our reval company uses them. But there's an option
So the-
now to be able to go directly into contract to be able to continue to have this more accurate information. So basically they give it to you, right, Dave, to just show you how effective it is, but then you're required to pay in to actually utilize it going forward.
Do we need it
So
every
the
year
data,
or 5 years?
the reval is every 4 years. Well, revals are every 5 years. With the new state law of getting people in close communities on the same reval schedule, the city of Ansonia is going to have 3 revals in the next 8 years, counting
Okay,
this
so-
one.
So this has been done and it was done by a subcontractor, right? So why weren't we notified of this the flyover?
Because it was part of the assessment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It would be like,
reval.
it would be like them
Reval.
using Google Maps. I mean, these flyovers are being done by anyone and everyone that's doing them. You have Google Earth and you have how many other programs. This isn't this is something that these companies will utilize. The question is, do you want access to the information in order to ensure that your tax rolls are higher? Or as high as they should be, as high as they fairly should be if everyone was treated fairly.
I think we need to get more information.
I'll just say I'm okay with pushing it to next month. I will say I'm in favor of this, and I know that we put a lot of effort into getting unfinished permits completed in the past. So at 675 work hours, just for the permitting piece. So it's one thing to have, your reval every couple of years. Have every year you're going to have the permits nonstop. So I do see the advantage of this, but it seems like there's enough questions, to Rich's point, that we're not going to do anything harmful to take this up next month, and you guys we can get all those questions answered and then vote on
Okay.
it next month, which I think.
So
Can
I
I-
make
can I- wait, hold on,
I make a motion to table this then.
Second.
I have a point of discussion.
All right, motion to table by
Chicago.
Rivers, second by Tar, and discussion by Mamone. Go ahead.
Chicago, I don't know if it's possible to amend your motion, but can we find out how we're paying for this? And 2, can we put some sort of stipulation in there that if we have a freebie that we've already had done, can we leverage that data or do some analytics on that? Is this going to be useful data for us? And, what can we actually do with it?
I agree.
All right, Tony, go ahead. He amended my motion. My motion,
Chris, you got all that?
not my motion.
So can
We have a
someone,
motion in a second to table.
can someone read the amended motion?
Of course, of course.
Thanks, Trish.
Oh, God. All right. Alderman Rivers moved to table. Alderman Mamone wants to know, he wants to find out how we're paying for it. He wants the stipulation that if we have a freebie that we've already had done, what can we actually do with that? Is that correct, Alderman Mamone?
You got it, Trish. Perfect.
Thank you.
I'll still second it, both of them.
I still want to discuss something.
Yeah, go
Oh.
ahead. Go ahead, Joe.
Why is it a 5-year contract? Is it 5 years?
6.
6 years.
6 consecutive years? Why is it?
6 years. There could be breaks in between, and there would be for the reval, but there will be a flyover every year. But every reval, Equality will be doing the flyover as part of the reval package.
And that costs how much? Each year?
It costs whatever the bid comes in at. That's bidded. That's set through the reval. Part of the contract.
Is that 25,000?
Or 25,000?
The city sends out an RFP and the reval companies put in a bid.
Right.
Where did 25,000 quote come from? What is that?
That's the quote that is through that Eagle View gave us. That has nothing to do with the reval package.
Oh, okay, so that's on top of the reval. Okay.
The reval is already set, done, and gone through. So this has nothing to do with the reval. This is making sure that we're accurate as of every October 1st.
Do you have any projected savings that we're going to be making money on this if we go ahead with it? And
Yeah, that was in the first page of his overview.
I
Yeah.
got it here.
Overview.
It's making sense.
I mean, it was hundreds of hours of saved time and set the salary associated with it, and the cost, the reduction in the cost per parcel as well on the permits.
Whether
the
we
second
do
page
Eagle
breaks
View
it
or I
down.
have to go out there everywhere, it's got to get done no matter what.
We generally try
And
to
it
add
hasn't been
on
done.
field capacity in the past. You know, we've tried to get field reps to be able to do the work or staff the office while our assessor goes out and does the work. And it tends to be, again, you know, as he describes, very time consuming and difficult to be able to accomplish both accurately and fairly, making sure everyone is under the same review.
I know some of you remember that we hired extra people to burn through permits a couple years ago. So
Yeah,
I'm in favor of this,
That
but
was a
I'm also in
multi-year
favor of
backlog. That was a multi-year backlog. though.
yeah, multiple years of backlog. So I think this will solve this as it sounds, but I am in favor, since it doesn't sound like it's going to jam up Dave to table this and then make sure we get all those questions answered. I'll distill you can send everything through me, and I'll make sure that it gets to Dave and to Kurt and to the city, and then get the answers, and then we'll take this up next month. So we have a motion and a second to table. All in favor?
I
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, so we'll see you next month. Communicate. Okay, the fourth communication is the late communication from Christopher Camillo, who I see is here in case we have any questions for him. This is the letter that Joe Yaman mentioned at the beginning. RE Class B application for 6 Bend Street. Dear Mayor and board members, writing to you today asking for a waiver or reduction of the permit fee of $500 to the city's Inland Wetlands Commission in these troubling times. We're a military family new to the wonderful city. This Class B application was submitted to fix a flooding issue on our property and improve the value of our home and surrounding neighbors. This undertaking has been more costly than expected. As a single income family, the cost of this fee is a major stretch financially. Would be appreciated if this fee could be waived. Thank you for your time and consideration. Did we determine what a Class B application was?
yeah, that's what I want to know.
Anybody?
I have no idea.
I walked that property. And calling it a wetland was determined that there was no wetland there. I don't know why it went even further than it did, but the discussion with the group there, it prevailed that there was no wetland there. I don't understand why there's this next process, this next procedure that they're making them go through. All it was doing was moving a little bit of dirt around.
Is that something that was done by inland wetlands, Joe? They walked the property?
I believe they did, yes.
Okay, and they determined that that it's not there's no wetlands on the property?
The wetland was off to the right. As you face the property, it was off to the right beyond the boundary line. So I don't know. I'm just wondering why we had the discussion there that this was not a wetland condition, and now he's being socked with a I guess a fine or a permit.
Permit fee application, $500.
I don't know.
All right, so I suggest that we table this until we get more information from inland and wetland to see exactly what went on here.
Yeah. I
I
second.
second that.
Can I just make a point of discussion really quick though? To ensure we do that, can we send a letter to inland wetlands and ask for an explanation? Or have them submit a letter to us explaining exactly what not only a Class B application permit is, but also, you know, what the resolution of this was and what the fee goes to?
John, can you unmute the resident if he has anything to add to this, or maybe he has details on?
Sure, where's the resident?
He's there.
Hello?
I am here. Yes.
Chris, can you shed any light on what this Class B application is?
I'm not really sure. That's just the title at the top of the permit.
Okay.
When we initially started this, trying to fix a flooding issue with our backyard, we have a creek on one side of our property, and then there's another creek in the back side of the property that comes from a storm drain from the above streets. And so what the issue was is when it would rain, that water that came out of the drain would overflow the creek behind us and the water would wash across our yard. So we brought in some dirt to try and level out the ground and kind of raise it up a little bit. In the process, the city was notified that we were back there doing some work and that the wetland was being destroyed. So we got a all stop notice. And we went through the process to contact the Inland Wetlands Committee to find out if the wetlands was on our property and if we were doing any kind of damage to it, which turns out that our property is not considered wetlands. So the permit was approved, and at the end of the permit, it reads, in accordance with the City of Ansonia's regulations and fee schedule, a permit fee of $500 will be paid by the applicant of the City of Ansonia Inland Wetlands Commission. A waiver of the permit fee from the Board of Aldermen may be sought.
Boy, that's
Okay, so they're basically saying there are no wetlands, correct?
Correct.
And
Yes,
they're looking for, because a Class B generally says that, okay, if you are conducting an activity, but that's a violation, but it's not having any significant or major impact on the property, then that activity can continue. But that's not really where we are at all. We're here at a determination that there are no wetlands. And so there is no violation.
Right.
That's why I believe they're basically putting forth this recommendation to waive your fee.
which I'm in favor of.
I have to agree. It sounds like, why should you pay to find out that there's no wetlands if there's? no
Yeah,
wetlands?
right, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Somebody can pay me $500 to determine I'm Joe if they want to.
Listen, this will not set a precedent, all right? I don't think that this is something that we're gonna have to worry about coming back on us.
yeah, because this is
It's
pretty clear that,
it's either wetland or it's not wetland, and
right, exactly,
it is
Yeah.
not.
Motion
Right,
was
it's
to
his own
table-
property. It's not a
Yeah.
wetland.
right.
So do you want
Was
to
that your motion
retract
to table
the,
it?
do you want to retract the motion to table and approve the
Yes.
waiver?
Yeah,
I don't remember who made the motion. Was it Joe?
I think it was Chicago.
Just-
Chicago, you made the motion to table?
yes,
Now,
yes, and I'm retracting.
Okay, so you want to retract that motion?
Wait a
Yes.
second, but to Joe Yauman's original point,
Right.
it's the
Oh,
lose her.
portion of this fee that the city collects go to the state.
but, right, I mean, I got that, but it's not his fault. Okay, he was on his own.
But we can't determine to waive a fee.
I believe,
And then
yeah.
we would have to pay the state.
So back to what I had said before, I believe there's 100% a municipal fee. However, you could basically right now move to waive any municipal portion of the fee up to and including the entire fee, if it indeed is entirely a municipal fee. The understanding is that we're not waiving any state fee. I don't believe there is any state fee here
I
at all.
don't think so either.
So do we have validation that this is not deemed wetlands?
That's in the letter, right?
Okay.
That's in the correspondence from wetlands,
Right.
correct?
No.
I'm
Or
gonna make
no?
a motion.
Yes, it's in
We
there.
we have no correspondence from wetlands.
We have
don't
nothing from them.
We just
Right.
have a letter from the owner.
He does.
Okay.
Can I make a
We,
motion to waive that fee up to and including the full fee that the city would charge pending validation from the Wetlands Committee that this is indeed not wetlands for this resident?
Second,
There you go. All right, motion by Amon, second by
There you go.
Cassetti. Did you get that, Trish?
Excuse me.
and to the owner, to Chris, if you can just get me, and I'll reach out to wetlands, but in the meantime, if you happen to run into them first, I just need something in writing from the Wetlands Commission. I'll reach out to Holman, to Timothy Holman, the chairman, tomorrow morning to see if I can get that documentation and incorporate it into the minutes of this meeting, Trish. So that would be, plugged in so anyone reading this could understand that verification was obtained.
And you'll send that to me?
Yep, as soon as I receive it.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion and a second with some stipulations, but essentially to waive potentially the whole fee pending verification. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed?
Right.
Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. And thank you, Chris, for visiting.
Thank you
Thanks,
for
Chris.
your
Good luck.
consideration in this matter.
He's a good homeowner.
Yeah, all right. We have, that's the end of the communications. We have no resignations this month and we have no resolutions this month. There's a letter from the mayor, appointments. There's one, appointment. I'm gonna make a correction to that. It's a motion to appoint Sean Rallis, unaffiliated of 18 Mott Street to the Board of Library Directors. Says a 3-year term. This is a replacement, however, for Hope Melbourne. So the term would actually run until the end of that original term. So the term would expire December 31st, 2022, which is when the original term was going to end. He could be renewed, of course.
So,
Motion to accept that by Cassetti. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Second by Adamowski. All in favor?
aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? All right, so congrats to Sean for his service, upcoming service. All right, moving on. We have, as part of our Keys to the City program, we had a couple nominees this month, and very quickly we'll give you the lowdown on those. The two awardees will be General Muffler and Dave Connolly. General Muffler is a longtime family-owned business serving the Valley, 77 years in business. They were formed in 1945. And I believe they've been on Main Street and for the entire time in a couple different locations, if I'm not mistaken. But 77 years, a great family-owned business, and so they will be getting a key to the city for the month of September. Congrats to them. And the second nominee is someone that you guys all know well, Dave Connolly. He's been at City Hall for at least probably at least 10 years, as far as I know. He's our resident IT guru, from Zooms, movie nights, city presentations, computer repairs, internet, and I think you guys all know that when he's not doing that, he's also our resident fishing expert, but also willing to basically do anything needed when needed in support of the city. So well-deserved honor for Dave Connolly as well. So congrats. He's our second winner of the key to the city. All right. Moving on, we have nothing under ordinance. And we have 2 items listed under new business. The first one actually is not really new business. It was just I submitted as an informational thing. It's a letter from me, if I can find it. It did get clocked in as new business, but last month I took a vote of all the aldermen, and I just wanted to publicly report back the results of that. This was regarding the fireboxes that have long been decommissioned from the city, and you guys voted 11-0 in favor of transferring those to the Ansonia Fire Department, and they have since cleaned that area out and equitably divided them among all the firehouses in the city. So each of the firehouses has 1/5 of those old fireboxes. They were literally stacked on the floor and in the bathrooms and everything in the chief's office. So thank you guys. And I already informed the fire department that of the result. So this is just for your information, no action needed. And the second item under new business is the letter from, this is from Kurt. New business number 2. This was the request to purchase 2 Ford F-550s, 5500 trucks for Public Works. And all the supporting documentation is in there, including the quotes from Gengris Ford LLC. What's your pleasure?
Hi, this is Kim. I was having some technical difficulties. I apologize. I am here if you have any questions. Kurt had left a packet. I think all the backup is here explaining what he's trying to do, to just put a letter of intent here in place with your approval to hold the 2 trucks for us so that we can get the loan in place and make this purchase so that we can start the replacement plan that they'd like to start getting going of replacing the vehicles more on a yearly annual type of basis, so that we don't find ourselves caught with a lot of old trucks that have lost their values, etc., that are no longer worthwhile, and to kind of keep from all of the excess that we're spending in the maintenance on it. It looks like he had Lou Mida take a look, and he put together the specs here for the trucks themselves as to what we need exactly and what'll work for Public Works. So with your approval, this is something he would like to put in place with Gengris.
Okay, so
any
questions for Kim or any?
Kim, I have a question. This plan, is this worked into the annual budget for Public Works, or is this something outside of Public Works budget?
Well, it looks like what he has here is for us this year, the initial payment for it will be taken out of the capital fund, out of the Public Works small truck fund that he's got in the capital fund. And then after that, it'll come out of the debt as similar to a lease payment, but instead of having a lease, we'll actually have a loan payment with probably one of the area banks. But in order to get this in place, he needs the approval with this letter of intent to go ahead any further.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Cassetti, second by Rivers. Any other questions for Kim, since we have her here? No? All right, motion to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right.
Thank you.
Yep, moving on, we have the under old business, we added at the beginning of the agenda, the facade loan application from room 72. This was on the agenda last month, and we kicked it to the subcommittee. The subcommittee recommended pushing it back to the full board for approval, and you all received this. Are there any questions or comments on this? Yes.
Yeah, just to be sure, this is only for $5,000. Am I correct?
Yes, that's the maximum that you can get from that program.
Right.
I make a motion on it.
Motion by Rivers to approve.
Second.
Second by Adamowski. Any other discussion on this?
Just to make a point of clarification, along with this, there is a balance that would cover this in the loan facade account or the facade loan account.
Yeah, the message I sent you, one of the borrowers from a previous one had paid back, so the balance is over, it's almost $11,000 currently.
Okay.
This is a request for 5,000.
Good.
So
Josh, I just want to say this is a relatively new business in Ansonia, and I'm glad she is here, and I'm glad we have this the opportunity to assist with the facade loan.
Right.
Thanks, Steve.
Yep, pro business. Let's roll. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right.
Motion
Perfect.
to move to executive session before you even speak.
Second.
Hold on, before you move, is the update on the property for the middle school on executive session? If not,
No.
I'd like to just add that, to have a vote to add that.
Not on there.
It's not on there.
I'd like to have to ask for a vote to
You'll
add
now
that.
have 25 items in executive session.
Motion to
Sure.
add.
Motion to
Second.
add the middle school discussion from Yaman, second by Tar. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and now Rivers made a motion to move to executive session. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Second by Cassetti. All right.
Knew we should
Go.
have done this earlier.